One of the biggest misconceptions with trading is thinking that knowledge automatically leads to more profits. But what most traders completely overlook is that 80% of your success comes down to philosophy, not just the technicals. And once I realized that, I went from being just an unprofitable trader to now making over $500,000 trading with ICT. So make sure to lock in, because I'm about to break down the 3 philosophies that could be the difference between you staying stuck and unprofitable to actually making it with ICT and becoming a consistently profitable trader. Now let's get into the first shift, which is mastering your life before you master the chart. Now the problem today is that day trading just gets romanticized. You place a couple trades, you make a couple $1,000s, and then you call it a day, and that's it. And that's why so many beginner traders just have this tunnel vision on the charts and treat the rest of their life like it just doesn't matter. But in reality, your trading performance is an exact mirror of how you live. If your mornings are messy, your habits have no order, you can't be surprised when your trading looks the exact same. And before I was able to become consistently profitable with trading, my life outside the charts was just holding me back. Looking back, pretty much every single hour I had in my day was spent on the chart. I was waking up 1 minute before market open at like 9:29 every day with boogers in my eyes, and then I'm trying to look at the charts. I would try to form an analysis and place a trade within the morning session, and if I didn't, then I would trade PM session. And then if I didn't trade, good in PM session, then I would trade, the end of the session, and I would just be trading literally from 9 to 5. I would treat trading as a 9 to 5, all the way from open to close. And this literally ruined my life outside of the charts. I had zero social life. I wasn't eating well. I lost a bunch of weight. I was extremely depressed because I didn't see the sun. I looked like crap because I wasn't working out. And my life honestly just sucked. And I thought that if I spent more time on the charts and I would place more and more trades, then that would equate to me making more profits, which was obviously not the case. Trading is a game of the less you do, the more you will receive. Now, in the early stages, of course, there are things that you need to be doing in your everyday life that do, of course, take up a lot of your time, like backtesting, like journaling your trades. Those habits do take a lot of time. But when it comes to actually placing trades and being on the live markets, only 2 hours of your day is necessary. And once I learned that how I lived outside of the charts directly impacted how I traded and what I earned, my life completely changed. So I started following a routine that shifted me from taking trades pretty much completely blind to now actually having a game plan and having a structured analysis coming into the day. And now my schedule looks something like this. I wake up at around 8 a.m. every day. I go outside for at least 15 minutes, get some sun in my eyes. I take a shower, wash my face, brush my teeth, eat some breakfast. I then hop on the charts at around 9:15 and do my pre-market analysis. I write out a game plan of exactly what I want to see coming into the day. I then trade New York AIM session from 9:30 a.m. to 11 a.m. I then upload a trade recap to YouTube. I then have a call with my community where I review the trades that they took that day. And I'm usually done with my work and calls at around 12 p.m. And those are my really deep work hours where I'm completely focused. I have no distractions. I'm not looking at my phone. And that's what allows me to take high quality setups. I'm just completely locked in. And then from around 12 to 2 p.m., I then go to the gym. I hit the sauna. I eat some lunch. I maybe make some more content. And I usually have another call in the evening with my team, and this is just a Q&A session for about an hour. And then after that, I eat some dinner, I wind down, maybe play some piano, and then I go to sleep. But you see how my routine only really 2 hours completely revolved around the charts and actually me placing a trade, because you cannot make trading your whole entire life. The more you do that, the more you allow trading to take control over you, the market will do that, and it will completely screw you over. So start living with intention. From the second you wake up to when you close your eyes, have structure in your everyday life, because I promise you, your trading will then align with that. But structure alone is not enough, because even with the perfect routine, you will still fall apart if your mind is attached to the money. So now let's get into number 2, which is detaching yourself from the money, because you'll never be consistent if all you're trading for is for the money and you're only focused on that red or green P&L for the day. Focusing on the outcome of the trade and how much they are going to profit is the #1 reason that the majority of ICT traders lose in this market. Now, the reason I was lose so much when I was just starting out trading was because I was literally only focusing on the profits. The only thing in my head that I was focused on is whether or not I had a green P&L for the day. And even if I took a loss on the day, I would keep trading until I saw that green P&L, which led me to blow so many accounts, because I would keep trading and trading and trading because I couldn't stand to see red on my screen. And there would be so many days where my setup wouldn't even present itself, but I would still trade just because I thought potentially I could make some profit on the day. Even though in the back of my head, I knew that it wasn't high probability. Which is why detaching from the money clears a lot of the mental noise and brings your focus back to what matters the most, which is reading price action, not watching your P&L. Now, what I did that turned me profitable, and what I still do to this day, is I journal every trade. And what that looks like, I would first write down what I did right versus what I did wrong. For example, there have been days where maybe I've taken a trade against the trend and I didn't follow my bias and it was a bad trade. So I'll write that down. That's something that I did wrong on the day. But maybe I had the right risk management, maybe the overall entry model was great, and I'll write down those things that I did right. After that, I'll write down all of the confluences that I had in the trade. For example, we were rejecting a higher time frame 1 hour for rally gap. We had data highs above us as our target. We had very clear displacement through a fair value gap as my entry model trigger. And it was aligned with my bias, right? Those are all confluences that I then write down. And the next question I'll ask myself is, would I take that trade again? Win or loss, if I see that setup present itself again, would I take it knowing that I'm following in the statistic, following in the model? And if I can't answer that question, I'll then go through my daily checklist that I have. I'll ask myself, did I follow my bias? Did I follow my entry model? Was the draw on liquidity obvious? And did I use proper risk management? And if I've checked off everything on that checklist, and if I write down all the things I did right, and I honestly didn't do anything wrong on the trade, it was just a good loss, then that is a win in my book. Which is why journaling is so important, because you can understand your wins, then you can understand your losses. And I'm always getting the question of like, Blake, how do you build more discretion in your trading? How do you know when to risk more, for example? How do you know when a setup's A+ or not? It's by journaling every single trade you take and understanding what makes up a high quality setup, by looking at your checklist, by looking at things you did right, things you did wrong, and slowly you will build discretion over time. Because at the end of the day, losses are just data, and you can use that for leverage for the future trade. And I'm telling you, once the money stops controlling you, everything shifts. You actually start seeing real progress in your trading. You start seeing the results right in front of you. This mindset shift is one of the first things that the top traders find out, and it's also one of the main reasons that a lot of the traders end up quitting. A perfect example of how fast things can actually turn around by simply applying the concepts every single day and detaching yourself from money completely is one of our students, Kenatron, who came in struggling heavily with his psychology, and he couldn't get himself to just apply the entry model. But after learning how to detach from the outcome and just applying the trading strategy that we teach every single day, he's now on to 6 payouts since joining the 1%. So I just wanted to give a big shout out to my boy to show you that anything is possible when you detach yourself from the outcome. So if you're ready to get consistent and start seeing real results, click the first link in the description below. Now it's time to talk about the final shift that really helped me make over $500,000 trading with ICT. And to be completely honest, if I can only share one thing with every single trader, it would be this: to accept uncertainty as the core of trading. Now, I've become a millionaire from trading, but of course, I still have days where I lose. I still even have weeks where I lose. And the reality is, what a lot of people on the internet don't show you is that losses are a part of the game. It's necessary to have losses in order to have this winning system. It doesn't matter how experienced you are or even how perfect the setup may look, because what separates consistent traders to unprofitable traders is how they respond to the losses. They do not spiral, they do not revenge trade, and they do not question their edge. Ever. They accept uncertainty, they move forward, and they put their full trust into the statistics and not the outcome. And what do I mean by trusting the statistic? Now, I've backtested years and years of data in these markets, and I've also been trading in these live markets for over 4 years now. And throughout all my backtesting and data collection, I have around a 70% win rate, meaning 3 out of the 10 trades must lose. And that is necessary. I need to have 3 out of the 10 trades lose in order to have a 70% win rate, in order to have this winning model. Get that through your head. You need losses, and it is okay to take losses, which is why I show all my losses on YouTube for everyone to see, because that's the reality of trading. And what you also need to constantly remind yourself is that even A+ setups can fail. At the end of the day, you can have a setup look so perfect, it's aligned with everything on your checklist, and it can still fail. But your job was not to predict whether or not that trade would have been a win or a loss, or you would have made X amount of money. You can't control that outcome. All you can do is analyze, execute, and then review. And you have to stay consistent to that. Keep executing just based on the probability. Now, of course, confidence in building that backbone in your model takes a lot of work. What I want you guys to do is to backtest so thoroughly that individual losses feel meaningless. Because I'm telling you, when you have months and years behind you to back up that statistic, one loss does not mean anything. Over the grand scheme of things, when you start looking at the overall bigger picture, one loss is really not going to mean much. Even a losing week, don't put too much emphasis on it, because as long as you're following your system, just trust in it completely that it will win over time. And with that, what I keep repeating is to journal, to reinforce that confidence in yourself, and to stay neutral and start understanding your wins and understanding your losses. And just by doing those two things alone, backtesting and journaling every single day, you will build so much confidence. And that's truly how you become robotic with your trading. And I'm telling you, eventually this uncertainty becomes freedom. You stop forcing trades on days there's no setups and your model doesn't present itself. You stop micromanaging your position every second you see the candle flip green or red, and you just trade calmly with conviction, and you accept on the days that it's either no trade, a break even, a loss, or even a win. And a final bonus tip I'll leave you guys with is to come into every day not expecting to trade. I do this pretty much every single day. If I'm not expecting to trade, I'm expecting to lose money. I'm looking for pretty much reasons not to trade, because until my setup is so freaking obvious and it's right in front of my face that I feel like I'm stupid if I don't take this trade, then I'll take the trade. Because a lot of you guys are coming to every single day expecting to trade, expecting to make thousands of dollars on the day, expecting to see that green P&L, expecting to get a payout, get funded, but just come into the day with a clear mind, you know, not expecting anything to happen, staying patient, sticking to your rules, sticking to your model, and let it come to you rather than you chasing it. And this is where philosophy truly meets trading. It's not just about the charts and your entry model, it's about who you are when you sit down to execute that trade. And these mindset shifts are what helped me go from $0 to over $500,000 trading with ICT. So I'm telling you, if you are still struggling with ICT, the problem may not be your strategy. It might be your philosophy. And if you want to take it a step further and actually apply the concepts and strategy that I use every single day inside of the charts and get that one-on-one mentoring that has helped traders like Sanch get his first payout after being in the community for a couple of weeks, after failing for over a year and a half, then click that first link in the description to get started. And thank you all so much for watching.